Hey, okay, so I'm recording this again. I'm going to try and go not as slow this time. So I use one string for the whole peyote, but I use one string and to do the skeleton, which is the first row. You basically just fold it in half, so you're holding the two ends, I guess, like that. And so the way you start is you put one on each string. So it will look like this, and then you just let it fall to the end. And then the second bead, you want to take it and put both strings through it. So it would be like that, and then let it fall to the end. And then you put one on each string again, like that, and let it fall. And then after that, you put one on both strings. And it's basically just repeating that over and over until you have 20 of the one on each string. So it'll be 2 beads. So as you're going, it will kind of look like this. So you need 20 of these bottom ones where there's 2, and that's where you're going to tie off. I'm not going to do that many because it will take me longer than it would be more fun to watch. So I'm just going to do like half of one, but I'll make it the same. I'll make it even so that way you can still see how to do it. So hopefully this one doesn't get corrupted and it actually makes it through. So I'm just repeating the pattern 2 1 2 1. And every time I put them on, as I move my hand, I let it slide to the end. You're gonna pull it. It doesn't have to be super tight because you're gonna pull it tight before you tie it. I'm gonna do 9, which is just about half of what a normal skeleton would be for a backpack. Because, like I said, you do 20 before you tie it. That's just in time of essence, or essence of time, I guess. It'll be a little bit easier for yours since you're not going to do really a pattern, which is probably a good idea for your first one, because I did, and it took me like a month and a half to do it. Okay, so this is going to be 9 right here. Really? I dropped both of them. Okay, so I just put my 9th set like that on. So you'll have something kind of looks like this. So I take the excess and I wrap around my finger a couple times so I can kind of push with my thumb down as I pull the slack out. So you go to the very bottom and you just pull and hold on to them and push down with your other thumb, so that way you get all the slack out of them so they're tight. And then just put your finger on it and tie it like you tie it like a normal square knot. And you want to try and keep it as tight as possible. And you just got to tie a knot a couple times, because you're going to tie another knot on the other end when you get over there. So I normally tie 3 knots. So there, it will look like that. And once you get it tied, now what you're going to do, I guess it's over here, it's backwards for me. Now what you're going to do is take both strings and put one more bead on both strings. So just 1 bead for both strings. So like that, and then pull it to the end, so it will be like that on the end of it. And if you look, there's basically, I can spread the strings here, and there'll be one going basically each direction. So I lay it down and figure out which one goes which way, and then all you do is just take your string and put a bead on it. And then you're going to run it through you're gonna start working backwards. So here in the center, run it through this first bead. I guess I don't know if you can see that, but just pull it through right there, which is the first one on the end, and then just pull it through. And when you pull it through, it will then hold that one bead on that you put on after you tied it. And then you just put on another string and go through the next bead. So it'll be like that, and then you just pull it tight, and it'll look like that. So I normally go about 4 in. This is just on the skeleton. I normally go about 4 in, and then I switch and I do the other side as well, so that way when I get to the end and I pull it tight, that one bead that I put on after I tied it doesn't end up crooked. I just pull too tight. So there, I did 4 on the bottom there. I'm going to flip it over and do 4 on the other side. Same way, just put a bead on. Here's where the string is coming out, right here. I'm going to put a bead on and go through that bead right there. So it will come out right there next to it. And then just pull it through. And put a couple more on. For this one, since you're not doing a pattern, you can just go, once you flip it over, you can just go to the end. So just keep filling in those pockets all the way to the end. And you can generally go about, you don't have to pull it through every single bead, but I normally go maybe 5 and pull it through, because you spend a lot of extra time pulling string if you pull it through every single one. And I normally, this is really short string for me. I normally work with 2 full arm lengths out, tie a knot, and then I work with that until I get to about 6 inches left, and I tie more string on. Almost the end of this one. Don't know what's on the TV. Okay, so I just got to the end of this row. So here's where my string is coming out now at the very end, and I basically just filled in each spot all the way through. So now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so I'm at the other side now. So I normally take both strings and pull them, make sure everything's tight. So now you see I've got one coming out of each one. So now all you need to do is just tie it again here. And like I said, I normally do 3 knots just to make sure. I actually super glue my knots too, but I know not everybody does that, so just make sure you pull it tight, like pull on it. The fishing line I use is 12 pounds, so I mean I can break it if I pull really hard, but most of the time I can't, unless I'm really not paying attention, like that, and I just broke it. So anyways, I was going to cut it there anyways. So what it was going to look like, it would have been 2 strings and a knot. Obviously, there's not there. So I would have cut one of them, and just because you only need 1 string going forward. So you cut 1 lead off, and then you have just 1 string, like that. So basically, how you did the other one. So you're just going to add a bead on, and then you're going to go through the first one and pull it through. When it's laying flat, like if you see right here, it kind of curled on the end. When it's laying flat and you're pulling it, after you go back down and then come back again. As long as you keep it flat on the table, it will keep it straight. It just will look a little funky at first. So that's basically it. You just go back and forth. Like I said, just make sure that you have 20 of the doubles before you tie it the first time. And then after that, it's just smooth sailing. You're just filling in each pocket individually. And when you need string, you add it on. I'm guessing you know how to add extra string on if you run out. If you don't, it's just like you have the string like attached to the stitch, and you have another string just tied or not like you would a shoe or something like that. When I add more string on, same thing. I normally tie 3 knots, and make sure it's super tight. So it's like that. Something like that, but then I tie it 2 more times and then just cut the leads off, obviously, and then just keep going. That should be it. Hopefully you can get it done before EDC.